Hello, Zippy, and welcome to Hangar Talk.
Hey, Braden, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Good. How you doing? Yep, I can hear you loud and clear.
Good, good. I'm just here in the Patriots hangar.
Nice. Let's start with Zippy, as I should say. Let's start with you, sir. How did you get into aviation?
Sure. Well, I started when I was 12. My grandpa took me for a glider ride, or a friend of his gave me a glider ride over in Hawaii when I was over visiting them on vacation, and I fell in love with it. I wanted to fly gliders because you can do that when you're 14. And unfortunately, the glider place, which was Warner Springs, was the closest place to San Diego. My parents didn't want, first off, they didn't want me flying. Secondly, they didn't want me to drive me up to Warner Springs all the time. So I found an airport that was nearby, Montgomery Field, for people that down in Southern California know that.
Nice. I love Montgomery Gibbs.
Yeah, you're familiar with it. It's a
Yep.
great airport. So I went over there and started washing and waxing airplanes and figuring out doing whatever I could to make money or get a ride in an airplane. So I started doing that when I was 13, 14, and then started actually really taking lessons when I was 15 and soloed at 16 and got my license at 17.
That's awesome, sir, and that's a great story. I'm currently doing the same thing right now out at Chino Airport right now, flying, taking lessons.
Oh, Chino's awesome. You like it out there?
Oh, it's amazing. Two great museums and a lot of great warbirds out there.
Chino and some of the other inland airports are some of the last ones where you can still go to the airport and people are out doing work at their hangar and go, hey, do you want to go for a ride? It's just it used to be like that all the time, but ever since they fenced in airports, it gets hard to do that.
Yeah, it really is, and it's a great thing. So I actually wanted to talk to you about your call sign, Zippy. How did you come up with that or call sign? Is it a PG story, or we can offline later if it's not?
It,
But
it, it's a PG story, I
oh,
had
okay.
time for some reason, but I think the story goes, the team, we just finished a Patriot show up in Oregon and it was really hot. And I was wearing these lightweight shorts. And 2 days in a row, I took my flight suit off and on my shorts underneath, my zipper was down. And the owner's wife's like, hey, your zipper's down. And everyone's like, looks over, we're in a circle and everyone looks over. And they're like, wait a minute, 2 days in a row. And everyone gave me such a hard time. But the zipper was worn out. It was an old, like lightweight pair of shorts that I wanted to wear into the flight suit because it was hot. So the zipper was worn out. And I found out later it just kept falling down. Like, when they're worn out, they just keep coming down on their own. That, and then also, I was in charge of doing GoPros on the jets. And so, which, anyone that does those videos, you're always moving around, you're jumping from plane to plane. So it was sort of double meaning as I'm always zipping around in my zipper 2 days.
Yeah, that's
So
great. That's a great story, sir. That's awesome.
yeah, do you have a call sign yet, Braden?
Uh, I don't know. I got Braden Blow apparently from kids in my first period, and I don't know if you're available with the term Riz.
No.
It's like you have good charisma for girls, I guess. I don't know. That's debatable at my school. You can talk to like almost everybody. So,
There you go. Well, you're a good start. Wait until if you go into the military, you better tell them just don't have a call sign. Don't even go in with that one.
yeah, that's true. So I wanted to talk to you about the Patriots jet team now. You were on the team. You were actually their air boss. We'll talk about that later, but how did you get into the process of being with the Patriots jet team? Is it similar to the Blue Angels and the Thunderbirds where you have to apply for the team, or do you just tell them that you have hours in the L-39 and they let you in? What's that process like?
Good question. So there's not really any sort of formal process, but it's just being at the right place at the right time and having the right training. I started when I wanted to get into aerobatics. I saw Sean Tucker flying at Fleet Week, and I got tired of doing bay tours in a Cessna. Like you can only go around the bay so many times in a 172. I'm like, I got to do something else. Saw Sean fly. I'm like, I got to go do some aerobatics. I went down to King City to a school in the wintertime to get some training. And he was down there. We talked about it and started, getting into aerobatic flying with them and bought a Pitts S2C from him and got training as part of that. So I started doing really learning from a lot of good aerobatic instructors. Bill Stein, great aerobatic instructor, Eric Tucker, and really getting good training and getting into competition. And all those like build a really good foundation for good aerobatics. And then I wanted to get into formation flying, and Bill Stein's one of the best instructors for that. So another guy that had a Sukhoi and I both wanted to get into flying the Sukhois, and he had a 29, which is a two-seater. So we would swap, and we'd put the instructor in the two-seat one with one of us, and then the other person would fly the single-seat one, so that we could each take turns flying the wing. So we did a ton of training for that. And then fast forward, I had just finished that, and I was at the fuel pumps at the airport where the Patriots are. I saw Randy Howell, the owner of the team, and he's like, "Hey, do you ever do formation?" I go, "Yeah." He's like, "Who'd you learn from?" And I told him Bill. He goes, "Well, let's go up and do some." And we had a great time doing some formation aerobatics. And he's like, "You ever flown jets?" And I said, "No, not like the L-39." And he's like, "Well, come on over." And we studied the book. And anyway, I studied the book and learned all the procedures, and then went and got checked out in it. And then started flying to and from shows, and being really involved with the team, doing GoPros and Airboss, as you mentioned, crew chiefing, all sorts of anything I can do to just get some time in the jet. And then after that, and then getting into doing air shows in the Sukhois, sort of then moved into doing air shows in the L-39s.
That's great, and that's a good story to tell. And then back to the Air Boss thing in a second, or right now, actually. You were actually featured in the air show documentary as the Patriots Air Boss who was running late for the
Yeah,
show for the certified. Can you give us that story and what kind of happened in there, and did you guys get it resolved and anything? And what was that like?
yeah, oh yeah. Okay, so first off, that television show was supposed to be just straight documentary, like fooling around, and then it got into, hey, could you guys do a little of this or maybe do a little of that, there's got to be some sort of drama to get the audience. Like, you go watch any of those reality shows today, and they make somebody who's like the villain and somebody who's the good, the hero, and even the latest Blue Angels, or more that I'd say the Thunderbirds one. If you guys seen that documentary, it's the whole,
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not going to get in. I'm never going to make it. And then finally at the end, like he gets in right before certification. So there's a lot of that. So anyway, so for that air show that we did, I was the air boss there. I live in San Francisco, and we're in older building, and the power went out that night, and my iPhone did not charge.
Oh,
Yeah. So my alarm did not go off. I was supposed to get up at 5:30 in the morning. I woke up at like 6:30 just naturally. I'm like, oh no, what time is it? And so I went. My phone was dead, and I went and found another clock. I'm like, oh my god, I'm late. So anyway, I made it there, no problem. It was fine, but they wanted to back up, and we sort of they dramatized it a little bit, or made a little drama out of it, redoing it, going, okay, we got to make it like you're late and you're barely going to make it, the show won't go on, just to put some drama into it. But what really happened, I got there on time, we did the briefing, and the show went on great.
that's amazing. And I did watch that, and I was like, oh no, that would suck. Because initially, what would they say? You can't fly if you don't have an air boss. Is that initially what happened?
um that's one part of it, but you need to have a briefing. So every air show you need to have a briefing, and the participants include the fire and rescue folks, and the FAA and the pilots. And since the Patriots are remote, it's remote that day. They dial in, right? So whoever was the lead pilot, and I think it was Wilbur at that time, would dial in and be part of the briefing. So we got to go through everything that's going to happen in the day. And NASCAR is very much TV time, and they have their minute by minute. Every single thing's planned out, and everybody in the paramedics and the whole emergency response crew needs to be at certain places at certain times for getting warmed up and getting the cars out and all that stuff. So we have to do that briefing, even though the show's not until 11 or so. We have to do that briefing at 7 a.m. So that
Oh,
critical part is making sure that everybody's at that briefing. We have the briefing, then everybody goes and does their own thing until we get about an hour away from the show. Then you get on location up on the top of the roof at Sonoma Raceway to get ready for the show.
That's awesome and very interesting to learn about too. And another thing is, I had a question about the Sukhois. What are the kind of the pros and cons of flying that aircraft? Are the gauges, because I know it's a Russian aircraft, so are the gauges in Russian?
They are,
Oh, wow.
but it's more metric. But you have a U.S. altimeter, um, and I put in a fuel totalizer, so I know exact gallons. I don't hold that much. I only hold 17 gallons of gas, so I need to know exactly how much I have. I always take off full, and I want to know exactly down to the decimal what I have when I land. But a lot of the instruments for the engine or the airspeed, yeah, they're metric measurements, but it has red, yellow, green, just like you would see on any other instrumentation. So, people are like, "Hey, what was your oil temperature?" And I go, "In the green," right? So, if you go fly an airplane you're not familiar with, it's obviously going to have the different, red, yellow, green for the instrument. So you should know when you get checked on a plane what's the max, oil temperature, oil pressure, all that. But if you're flying a lot of different things, you're going to look and go, okay, oil temps are in the green, cylinder head temperatures in the green. That's the same thing with a Sukhoi.
That's awesome and very interesting to learn about too. Did you ever get to fly anywhere good? Where's your favorite show site that you've done so far with the Patriots and the Sukhois?
I would say San Francisco Fleet Week, and anyone that's any other pilot that's done a bay tour, or even I know you're down in Southern California, you go out and
Yep.
fly on the coastline. They have that show at Huntington Beach, and I'm sure you're
Nice.
Huntington Beach going, God, it'd be so fun to go, fly down at 100 feet over the water and pull into a loop and do aerobatics over here. But you can. It's illegal to go just do that there. And same thing with flying over San Francisco. It's a beautiful over the bay, but you usually just fly around at 2,500 feet straight and level because you're in talking to NorCal and there's other airplanes out there. So when you get to go out there and the whole airspace is clear, you get to fly down to the water. We usually keep it up 100 feet or so because of birds and stuff like that. But you have the whole airspace and you're doing aerobatics. You're flying, out around the buildings. It's a lot of fun, and I know people that fly, Chicago and New York and some of those other big cities. When you get to do these air shows, it's great scenery and it's cool getting to fly in airspace that you're normally so restricted that you just have to fly straight and level and usually.
That's amazing, and it's a great thing to do, and I'm sure I will get to experience that one day too. So another thing I had was, do you have any family members at all that served in the military?
I do. My younger brother is a test pilot for the Navy. So anybody, I know you're still young and trying to figure out what you want to do. Anyone that is figuring out what you want to do, I'll tell you a quick story. When I graduated college, the military wasn't taking any pilots. I only looked at the Navy. I grew up in San Diego, and everyone says, "Go, you only go Navy. You only go Navy. Don't look at anything else." Well, the Navy wasn't taking any fighter pilots, so I said, "Okay." I moved on and was doing the instructor thing and everything. My brother, same thing happened. And by the way, the military is cyclical. Like pilots, they have, hey, we have a lot of pilot slots. Sometimes you don't. And same thing happened with my brother. And so he went to be an aerospace engineer at Northrop Grumman. And for 4 years, he kept applying to officer candidacy school. And finally, they said, yeah, we have fighter slots. You got in. And so he went to OCS and then pilot training and so on. He was already a pilot, as a private pilot, which really helped a lot. But anyway, so he was able to turn that aerospace engineer career into being a test pilot for the Navy now.
That's awesome. That's a great story, and thank you to him for his service.
Yeah, yeah, I'll let him know.
Awesome, thank you. And I wanted to move on to how did you get to become an instructor in the International Advanced Aerobatic Club for the IAC? Is that like a process you apply to, or do you just anybody get selected?
So back to I think what I said in the beginning is get really good training. So I got some great training, and then I went and did it. I did competition for a long time. I've competed through the sportsman, the intermediate, and I currently fly advanced. I won't go into unlimited. I just don't have the time with the air show flying to put the time in. Unlimited is hard, and you got to practice a lot. Advanced, you can come practice, a couple of weeks ahead of time and be able to go out and do well at a contest. But from becoming an instructor perspective is I competed. I learned from really good pilots. Then I went and competed and learned how to do it. And then I went back and I started teaching people how to do it and teaching people in a pits or an extra. And same thing with formation. Formation is a whole new skill set and it's dangerous. It's not something you can just go out and do. You might be able to go out and fly with your friend and stay a couple hundred feet away and make some turns and stuff. But if you're going to go out in two aerobatic airplanes and go up over the top in loops or do rolls, it's dangerous. You get closer really quickly. Things look a lot different when you're upside down. So you need to go out with instructors that know how to do it. And typically, you go out, you and another person, you go out with two good instructors and go out and you take turns being on the wing. So I think learning it from the best, and then I take what I learned and I go try to teach it and teach at a really high level so that the pilots I teach are safe, first of all, and secondly, then they become really good formation aerobatic pilots.
That's awesome, and that's great. Great story and great advice. And how did you get to? And then about the Sukhoi West thing again. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Is that like something you guys created off of the routine for the Patriots, or what kind of inspired that whole routine for the Sukhoi West?
There's another good story on that. So, are you familiar with the Viper demo?
Yes, sir. Very much familiar. Yes.
Yeah. So the Viper demo team, they used to have a Viper West and a Viper East team. And one of my friends who had a Sukhoi 29, Russ Piggott Spicoli, he was the Viper West demo pilot. So when he got done doing that, he wanted to continue. He's like, hey, I want to keep flying air shows. Let's figure out how to do it. And so we put together the Sukhoi West demo team, as a spinoff of the Viper West demo team. And this was back in 2010. And then Russ went into getting the guard, and we both sort of got busy with life and jobs and everything like that. And we just we kept the name and some videos and stuff like that. And then once Randy, the owner of the Patriots, got a Sukhoi, I said, well, I needed to get a certain number of shows. I needed to get down to 250 feet in the air show. So I had to go out and do formation aerobatic air shows. So Randy and I, both having Sukhois, continued and said we're the Sukhoi West demo team. So it's awesome having two Sukhois because they're such unique airplanes. They sound different. They're big. They show well. So everybody that comes out and watches them loves the show. It's high impact. We incorporate some of the stuff that you would see in the Patriots, where it's like the head-on stuff. But there's a lot of unique things when you can't go and do a tail slide in a jet. You can't do a push. I push like a reverse half Cuban pushing outside. You can't do that in a jet. So there's some things that we do in the Sukhois you just don't do in jets. But that's why they're different shows.
That's awesome, and that's really, really interesting, sir.
Yeah. So Michael Monero is another guy. We're going to probably do some three ship stuff, so he can get some more air show experience. And so there's really not anyone out there that's ever done like three Sukhois, and I think it'll be cool to have some three ship formation stuff. Then we break off and do solo stuff across the box and opposing stuff. So I think you could make it a pretty busy squirrel cage. And again, having three big airplanes, the Sukhoi for an aerobatic airplane it's larger than a Pitts or a one design, some of the other monoplanes that you might see.
That's awesome, sir, and really great. And any shows you guys are looking forward to performing at this year?
Um, you know what? I like every show. If you go to our site, I put both the Patriots and the Sukhoi schedule up on the SukhoiWest.com/schedule site, and so you can go see everything. So the next one, I think I mentioned we have Travis coming up. I think we have 4 or 5 Sukhoi shows, and then 5 or 6 Patriot shows. So we have to sort of balance them out. And one of the shows we'll be doing both the Sukhois and the Patriots, and then Fleet Week as well. We'll be doing both. But it comes down to my full-time job is, I work at a software company, and I also help teach upset training. So it's hard to
Oh, wow.
be able to be. I'm not a full-time air show pilot, so 9 to 10 shows a year is about all I can do because I have to take Fridays off work and in the full 3 day weekend.
Nice. And then would be very cool to see a three ship, kind of like the Jack Aces, what
Yeah,
would certainly be more intense. Yeah, I agree
the
with that
Jack Aces are
1000%.
cool.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Jack Aces are awesome.
three P-51s. That's a lot of work moving those across the country. But it sounds really cool. The three P-51s, they look great up over the top because they do P-51s do great big aerobatics.
Oh, okay, very nice. Yeah, I've seen that too, and with that, and then looking forward to Lemoore in San Francisco.
Yeah, I'll give you guys want to give you a quick little glimpse. I can go show you what the Sukhois look like. I don't know if it's
Ooh, very nice.
um here's a picture of the Patriots hangar. There's
Oh
a
wow.
Saberliner in the background and the other jets. We got the Cinejet over there, jet number 8. So if anyone has watched Top Gun Maverick, Cinejet did all the filming.
Nice.
All right, so let me see if I can flip this around here. I got here's uh here's what the Sukhois look like when everything's taken apart.
Oh wow, she's a beaut.
Yep. So you can see we take everything apart and then go through it all. We're just getting finished, and we'll start tomorrow just putting everything back together and doing the run ups. So you get to put them up on jacks and check out all the landing gear. Yeah. So that's about a 4 day process, and we have a guy up here that knows these airplanes inside and out, working on them.
Very nice. That's amazing.
Yeah. Any other questions?
And then I got what is the best aviation advice that you've ever received?
Um, I think the best aviation advice and what I tell people is get fly anything you can. Always say yes. If someone's like, "Hey, do you want to go here? Can you help me? Come push my airplane around and we'll go fly it." Always say yes. You never know what sort of doors it's going to open. I've gotten into flying so many different airplanes because I'm like, sure, yeah, I can help do that. Sure, I can help do that. And the other thing is try to get to getting your instructor rating because then people can pay you to go fly with them in their airplanes, and you build a ton of hours. So I tell people that getting an instructor rating also opens up a lot of doors.
That's amazing, and that's really good advice. And I was gonna ask, and then what advice could you give to aspiring pilots or people looking to pursue a career in aviation like myself and
Hmm.
Colin on here, who's also online?
Yeah, fly as much as you can and get in. If you're going to go to the airlines, it's all about seniority. So try to get that 1,500 hours as fast as possible. And some of the airlines now have the cadet programs. Try to get in those, but that's not a golden. That's not a silver bullet. So make sure you get your hours. Try to get involved in those programs, and you just teach as much as you can. So that way you get in the door as quick as possible. And also don't just, feel free to hold out for, if you want to work for United, work for United. Don't just jump in with the first airline that hires you.
Right on. That's awesome. And thank you for that great advice. And then
Yeah.
he said, I'd like to extend my thanks to you and the team at Fleet Week last year. Really turned a bad situation into an amazing day of flying.
We always love it. I used to live in San Francisco. I live in the Bay Area, so I have so many friends there, and it's so fun to go fly over the bay. But it's also fun being a spectator. Many years I went and watched the show, so I know how important it is to make sure the show goes on.
For sure. And that's really, really great. And then where can viewers go to find more about your performances and aviation adventures, sir?
On SukhoiWest.com, we have a bunch of stuff on there. Also, the Sukhoi West demo team Facebook page.
Great. And then be on the lookout for some shows. And we have one question here. It's from
Yeah.
Aviation Adventures 40. If I can try to remember this well. It's do you have any favorite memories so far of being an airshow pilot?
Um,
probably the first show I did solo with the team with the Patriots was down at Salinas, and it was a twilight show. I love flying the twilight shows. It's so calm, it's so nice, and so that was a Friday night twilight show that they had, and I got out and got doused in a bucket of water because it was my first show. So
Oh,
that was
that's
pretty
great.
fun. I had to go hang my stuff out and try to hope that it dried. It didn't dry. Down at Salinas by the coast, it's not very warm, so I had to try to dry stuff as much as possible for the next day.
That's great, and that's amazing that you got water dumped on there. That was really nice. And then anybody else have questions here for Zippy? Unfortunately, I can't get Colin in here because of the requirements, but he's thankful too that we were able to make time. So
And feel free, feel free to Cory at SukhoiWest.com if you have other questions. I'm always happy to do that. Um, you know, um, feel free to reach out to me with any aviation questions.
that's awesome. And then that's looks like it's about it. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you so much, Zippy,
Yeah,
for
no
coming on
problem, Brady.
Hangar Talk, sir.
All right. Hey, talk to you later. Have a good
Yeah,
one.
talk to you later, sir. Have a good
Bye.
night.
You
Bye
too.
bye.